Happy Wednesday, my friends. Casual Duelist back at it again. And today I'm going to fail at doing some test hands for you guys today with our common charity Crystal Beast deck. And I say fail because this isn't one of those super explosive, you do everything in one turn decks. Definitely not the way I built it, and definitely not in common charity. It is a little more grindy, and it is built that way for a reason. Because this deck actually lacks, like, good tutors. Like, there's no reinforcement of the army. There's no charge of the light brigade. There's there's no black whirlwind. There's just very, very little in the way that actually helps it. That isn't just, you drew it and you got lucky and fantastic. So I'm going to give it another shuffle. We're going to cut the deck, and then we're going to see. I'm going to do one going first. I'm going to do one going second. And then I'm just going to talk over like the basic things that I ended up doing while I was playing this. So let's go first. I'm going to get a strike. I'm going to get a monk, get a reborn, get a Pegasus, get a fiendish chain. So this isn't terrible. One of the first things we could do is we could just start setting up. Again, since this is a going first, you just play Pegasus. Go ahead and back any card that you want. Drop your chain, drop your strike, and pass turn. If you got the same hand and you went second, you could pitch the promise. We could instead take the monk. You could pitch promise. And in this case, I would play a Sapphire Pegasus. And then again, you would just play out the way that you normally would. You'd go ahead, you do that. Again, I always play my carbuncle just to get it going. So you'd have two. And then if you wanted to, you could link. Best link here is probably going to be the Underclock Taker. Because again, you did go second. You don't have the ability to go into your Darumidal yet. So you could make your Underclock Taker. These go to the discard pile, which would allow us to then reborn. You could play your Pegasus again. You could play another card to the back row. And then you would still just be able to set up. This should end up being like this. You go ahead, you declare whoever it is that's over on that side. They lose the 1800. Pegasus runs over it. Pity attack for the 1000. That's fine. Let's throw the Underclock Taker back over here. And let's do a dedicated going second hand. And then we're just going to talk over, like, what are good cards in here. And then if you guys have got some pointers for me, if you guys have got some, like, this works a little bit better, that works a little bit better, keep in mind this one is built for common charity. So don't give me the harshness. Don't tell me to play that infinite impermanence yet. Don't tell me about evenly matched when you know it's not a common. Let's kind of keep it to the common charity bit. So the other thing is I haven't had it in my budget yet to go after the common charity cards. So there is that as well. Still just kind of working off whatever odds and ends we have laying around. So, okay, once real quick, cut the deck. Okay, we got our Topaz Tiger. We got a Crystal Blessing, Beacon, Release, and a Blessing. And then we draw. We get the Summoner Monk. Good move, great move. Pretty much second verse, same as the first. Because, again, we did go second. We should be facing one-ish more monsters, maybe depending on the archetype that you're facing up against. So that is that. Get back from the graveyard. I'm just trying to think of how I can get two into my back row the quickest as possible. Knowing I'm going to have to lose one of these cards. And I feel like, since I have two Blessings, Blessing won't matter. So let's go ahead. Pitch Blessing for Summoner Monk. Sorry, should be in defense position. Go ahead, grab our Saf Pegasus, which is fine. Saf Pegasus will give me Ruby Carbuncle because I love Ruby Carbuncle. Well, we don't have Promise. So we're going to be using the Beacon to summon. So let's leave Ruby in the deck. Let's go ahead and do something a little more fun. Let's put another Sapphire Pegasus back here. So that's going to give us that so far. So we've achieved one. We need to have one more before we can start doing some things. So we're going to take another look real quick. We're going to go ahead and we're going to say, well, let's play our Crystal Release. We will equip our Sapphire Pegasus. And again, yeah, now it's not going to attack. We already used our summon for the turn, so the Topaz Tiger is dead in hand, which leaves us with just these two spells. So, again, since Underclock Taker is good and generic, we'll go ahead and play him slightly off screen. Crystal Release is now going to go from the field to the discard pile, allowing us to now place a Crystal Beast from our deck into the spell trap zone. And again, if we want to keep our numbers right, let's go ahead with something a little more powerful. Let's go ahead with our Amber Mammoth. Because now that we have the 2 or more threshold, and assuming our opponent doesn't have Twin Twisters for us, we will be able to set this and now activate the beacon. The beacon will now allow us to summon. Now, if we wanted to be a jerk, what I should have done is played my Crystal Blessing first, placing that other Sapphire Pegasus up here. So I'm going to pretend I'm a smart player, that I did that move properly. And then I'll use my beacon. And Beacon will summon the Ruby Carbuncle from the deck. Ruby Carbuncle, having been special summoned, will now special summon the entire back row to the field. And since we were able to play 2 Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasi, we are now also able to put 2 new cards into the back row. And again, I don't think that these really matter so much as far as which ones that we are using. But now we have 5 monsters on the field. So if you wanted to go big links, now you could play out your Borreload if you wanted to. Because we have enough people to play Borreload. So you got Borreload, you can play your Decode Talker. We could play the Darumidal easily because we have at least 2 targets for that. We could play the Steel Star Regulator at plus 1200. It would be at 22, and I would be able to go ahead and start taking off a monster there. Those are all moves. We could go into Xyz. We could do rank 4 right now. That could be the Dark Rebellion if we needed to. We could end up stepping off something to go into Vespinato. We could make Utopia. You could make your Crooked Cook. You could do your Time Thief Redo, or you could do the Tornado Dragon, depending on the situation. A lot of the plays are now active. And it's just a matter of which route you personally want to take now. So this really shows off more of what I mean. This deck is a little grindy. Again, surprised that all my strikes just kind of found the same spot, but didn't get the chains. The chains were all clumpy. It just is what it is sometimes. I mean, I just shuffled this thing not too long ago, and it hasn't had enough games under it to like truly have a good, great mix to where every game it's almost consistent. I don't know if you guys have experienced that yourselves, but a lot of the plays in this deck are going to revolve around 3 cards. Carbuncle, Pegasus, and believe it or not, the Promise sometimes, but the Crystal Release. So a lot of my board building ends up with like playing Pegasus as many times as possible, just getting as many characters into the back. And then again, because when the Crystal Release does go to the discard pile, whether that be through Link or an Xyz play, we can again bolster that back row. And then again, if you have the Promise already in your hand, then you want to board your Carbuncle as soon as possible to lead the charge from the back row. And again, as many Pegasus are back here, we're going to then fill the back row back in. And this is going to be helpful once you get into cards like your Rare Value and you want to draw. Or the Beacon when you want to summon it out of the deck, which would be fantastic too. And again, that's like the other routes to getting into Carbuncle, which is why maybe Beacon should have been maximized up 1 more. Carbuncle maybe dropped down to 2. I don't really know, guys. I just know that this seems to be what works for me. And when we were playing in the common charity matches, this didn't do bad this last week. This pulled off about 58% of the time. So a little better than half, but again, as far as casual, very easy to obtain cards. Again, I collect every structure deck as it comes out, so you know, I had extra common strikes. To me, that wasn't a big deal. To you guys, maybe it will be. Those are like $3 to $5 a copy, so that immediately puts this very, very inexpensive deck into the about $20 range for the whole thing. Because again, these are mostly like 10-cent cards. This, like I said, 3 to 5. This might still be $1-ish. And then just everything else was really just easy to find. Obviously, all commons. A lot of this can come from structure decks. Look out for like Duelist packs too, as they do more and more of these Duelist packs over time. And as they re-release the Duelist packs, cards will change in rarity, allowing more and more decks to be played in common charity. So that is that. And again, the extra deck is going to be basically the same all the time. Anytime you guys see me with the instant fusion and I'm not playing to where I can play my Cyber Dragon Nova, chances are Restrict is going to be my only play, honestly. And then whenever I play Restrict, I'm always going to have the Link Kuriboh and the Gravity Controller. Now, if it ever changes from that, I'll probably drop the Link Kuriboh if I don't have ones, and I'll just keep the Gravity Controller. I mean, building the extra deck in common charity is like, check your deck archetype. If they have some commons, you're probably going to be playing them. And if not, you're just going to be playing like the best utility cards that you have available to you. So don't get too disheartened if this doesn't get you as many wins as you'd like. It is still just a Crystal Beast deck. Those historically have never done like super amazing. I've never seen it at regionals. I've never seen it at nationals. I've never seen it take worlds. But it is super fun to play, and that's why I found its home on the channel this week. So I hope that you guys come back tomorrow. I hope that you guys check out the master variant of this deck. And seriously, guys, have a great day. If you want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you guys have done that and you still want to support the channel, just keep coming back. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, do something for yourself today and have a wonderful one. Later, my friends.